Hi, this is part 5 of the walk and run lesson. In this video, we'll look at some tips on how to get your character to move with the scrollable background. Start a new blank file and then import that background into it. File, Import, Moho Object. Choose the background and click Open. If you want to zoom way out, you'll see what it looks like. All right, it's a super long background and the different layers are set at different z-axis. And now import your character that's ready to go with the walk and run actions. File, Import, Moho Object. If your character is too large or small to fit the environment, use Transform Layer and scale it and place it near the beginning of the path. Okay, now I've switched over to the animation that was already completed that I showed you earlier. And if I click on my character, you'll see that it has the first action for walk put over in here at frame 60. And then the walk continues and then it goes into a run, right? So here's the walk and then she goes into the run. She runs for a while and then stops and then walks again, right? Let's look more closely at how I went from the walk to the run. And I should zoom in on the timeline here a bit. And now I've moved backwards on the timeline here. So here's the first walk starting at frame 60. And she keeps walking. And here she gradually starts to drift into that running action. So when I wanted her to stop walking, I stopped here and I did freeze pose. Then I moved a half a dozen frames down the timeline and I put in the action for the run. This enabled me to have her gradually move into that running pose. But I did have to make sure that the correct leg was up, right? I wanted to make sure that when I was going to start into that running pose, that there was actually going to be a consistency on which leg was going to be going into motion. So you'll just have to experiment and play around with that until you get the hang of it, okay? So she's going from walking, right? The front leg is starting to go up, but then it immediately starts to go into the run. And if you'll notice, this character is not moving forward through the scene yet. The scene is moving backwards past her. She's staying there. And she doesn't move through the scene until the very end, after she stops and then walks off stage. So if I move over here to near the end, she was running, she stopped, and then when she resumed, the scenery's no longer moving, now she is. So yes, that's the other part of the formula, that you have to coordinate the speed the scenery's traveling backwards with the walking speed of your character. So if I click on the scrollable background right now, you'll see that I've got, there they are. I've got some keyframes set up, and the background, if you actually, let me turn off the character so that you won't be distracted by that. And you can see that the background moves along at one speed and then it goes faster for the run. Now I do have camera actions set up here as well. All right, and they're not coordinated with the timing of when the speed changes for the background. All right, they just happen when they happen. So here, let me just run through this. Once it starts, when the character starts walking, it's going at that speed. And then you'll see it goes faster, and that's for when my character is running, right? And then when my character stops, you'll see actually the background is what stopped. All right. So the character is doing its looping animation, staying in one place until that very end when it walks off stage. So this is the timing that you'll have to play around with until you get it to look like a realistic walk and run. I actually don't think I'm requiring any camera actions or camera effects for this particular project, but of course you're welcome to put some in there. I just used transform layer to move the background, and remember to keep it nice and straight as you're pulling backwards. Be sure to hold your shift key down. So good luck with the project and email me if you're having any trouble.